encoding null values, encoding null values of RDBMS, encoding null values of RDBMS table. So we want to encode that like kind of transformation, and we want to store that output in HDFS if it is a null in RDBMS. Okay, so where there are two parameters in scope, there are two parameters to handle this operations. So let me write it as scope parameters. Scope parameters. Scope parameters works in this way. First parameter is hyphen null hyphen string. Now whichever column you have a string column, varchar column, char column in your RDBMS table, and that table is having null record for few rows, okay, especially for a string data type. So you can encode it anything. You can say you want to write here instead of null you want to write n. This encoding can be anything. Within single quote you can write anything, okay. You can write any real value also if you think. Then second, so this is universally applicable for all the column which has a string data type, char data type, varchar data type. But how about other than a string? So for other than a string there is another argument, null hyphen null hyphen non string. Can't we use NVL inquiry? Yeah, in query only I will write. In query only I will write this. Currently I'm just telling you the argument. Null non-string, and this let me call it as n within single quote. All right. This value can be anything. Okay. I'm just giving n for my understanding. If you want to think that you want to give your name, let's say, you can change it to your name also within single quote. So null string, null non-string. Let's see this two parameter in our query. To do this, we need a table which has some null value, and for a string, and some null value for non-string column. Let's say for double or integer. I have the table, so it's well and good. If not, I'll create it. So let's not waste on searching time. We'll create one table inside the database. Use Parva, or I think if there is record already available in my table, I'll just insert one null record. So using this database, so tables, select the star from peas tree, and check this. So ID, name, age, city, all has a record. Now I'll make two entries basically. First entry is this: insert into table name, insert into table name values, and I will write result here. Yes, I'm in the Anshika can hear me. I think, can you please check your network? One second. Suminder is facing some difficulties. Let me write it. Okay. Now insert into p underscore history values, and I will write 4 as value, and name I'll not give anything. I'll try to avoid value first for second column. Then I'll give 30. Then I will give city name YZ. If I there's some error, okay. If I run this, then this blank value will not allow me to do this. Can I use null? Can I use this keyword null to store it? Now I can give null, or maybe I can give this single quote also, but single quote will hold the blank value. Okay, so let me use null keyword, ready-made keyword, and run this. When I run this and again star, select a star from table name, it holds null for name column. I'll make one more entry right here, and so this time this is 5. Then this is not null. This is actually some result, which is say some name, and I'll keep this time null to my age column, and city also I want to keep null, just to know if multiple null we have in the single row, how it will handle. So now if I run select a star from table name, I can see my string is also null, age is also. So in teaser and string I have balanced string and non-string. If you're thinking, if I have date column, if I have float column, as in float data type, double data type, how about that? No problem. If it is not a string, it is non-string, right? So just 2 parameter, null string, null, non-string. This 2 parameter we need to remember. Rest of the command is going to same. I'll go to my MySQL page now. Sorry, I'll go to my Cloudera. That's my Cloudera. And here in this Cloudera, I'll run one operation. And this operation is as follows. Scoop import -- connect JDBC MySQL IP address 192.168.41.1 slash healthcare is my database name, username, p table name, which is p history, and then you give hyphen null hyphen string. Okay, I want to write it as n instead of null, and for non-string I'll say null non-string, and I want to write it as nn. Then target directory, the rest of the query is exactly same. Percent result minus m is equal to 1, and enter. Root will wait for this operation. Once this is done, we'll validate our output. possible, read the log file. Many information your log itself is holding. If I could show you something here, let me search it. Operation has started, retrieve 5 records. We'll go to our output directory in HDFS. Present is HDFS DFS minus ls present underscore is. One mapper. Can we check this output? So this is how you can encode your null values. This is my string column with the name, and this is my age column which I have encoded as NN, and this is again a string column. You can write literally any value. Okay, so you can get a transformed output in your HDFS if you want to do such operation. This is one null holding query. After null holding query, there's another parameter called direct. So personally, I have not used much this direct option, but Scoop has provided you. What direct does, it does not run any mapper. It does not run any mapper internally. So obviously by default one mapper is there. The whole record will go to just one mapper. So it's like minus m is equal to 1. Okay, but internally how your this operation is working, right? How your MapReduce operation works. So when you submit this query, what happen? Whenever you submit any query in a Scoop, what happen? It takes the data from RDBMS, which is your input. It takes the data from RDBMS, which is your input. Then it start following through all this. It does input split. Then it does record reading, which we call a record reader. Then mapper. So it will increase the performance at this place. Okay, it will increase the performance at this mapper place, because what basic behavior of MapReduce is there, this direct will escape and skip this. The direct command will skip this, but I'll not recommend this for large amount of data. If you have very small data volume like 1 GB, 2 GB, that's okay. 1 GB, 2 GB still you can handle. But if you are having more than 20 terabyte, 20 gigabyte also, direct I will not recommend to use it. So let's go to a Scoop official page and read what this direct is doing, what this direct operation does. Whenever you have any theoretical question like how this thing is working, I'll not suggest you to read any blogs or go to any tutorial. The better you search for a Scoop documentation. All they are having documentations, official documentation. We'll go to any page. Let me go to this Scoop documentation, users guide. You can find the direct option here. Let me invest some time to search direct. Can you see this line? Use minus minus direct. Use minus minus direct. Use direct connector if it exists for the database. Use direct connector. It uses one kind of direct connector if exists for the database. Okay. So this is how they will internally increase the performance. Let me actually click here and see one query, simple query of direct. So hyphen direct. Just wait guys, let me search it first. Let me do one thing, quick thing. I'll use my control F and search for this direct. Or hyphen direct. Use direct import fast path. Actually, I'm looking for some example. Some database provides a direct mode for exports as well. Use a direct argument to specify the code path. This may be higher performance than the standard JDBC code path. The direct mode with each specific RDBMS installation requirement can be found in this. Okay. What this interlead is doing, it's saying that it does not uses the traditional driver, right? So when we're communicating from RDBMS, when we're communicating and taking this data to HDFS using Scoop. So what a Scoop does, a Scoop will request first here for metadata call it provides, and then it start importing, right? But how this is importing, they're using basic JDBC driver, Java database connectivity, and JDBC is a type 1 driver. So there are JDBC, ODBC, native API, and thin drivers, multiple drivers we have in our portfolio. So my direct thing is not using this driver as well. That is using directly the connector, direct connector, and makes more faster than this JDBC if your cluster is well. That's what I can tell you. Personally, in practical, I have not used direct because my data volume was not very less. It was always a very high data volume. So direct was not efficiently working, and it's not compatible with all the databases. So, but option is there. Like if somebody asks you what is direct, what it does, how it connects with your table and records, you can specify with this and read this documentation, guys. You can read all the documentation. So we have seen so far MapReduce, HDFS for detailed. If you want to deep dive into this area, so I'll not recommend to go with any tutorial. I'll share the file for reference. You can refer my file for practice purpose. You can use them. But if you want to get what exact is the use case of it theoretically, okay, you can come here into this documentation sites. If you want, so Suminder is having question, if I want that any row having null should not be copied. No, you can, it's not, we're not copying. First of all, we are extracting the data. So you can extract the null data also, but if you don't want to extract the null data, then there is an option given for encoding the null string and null non-string. But if you want to extract with null values, that's okay. You can extract the actual record of null. Then later on, you'll have to do data modeling and other stuff if you're not encoding it. Depends on the application, what your business says. Your business says that I want to encode this null value, you need to encode it. If that says I need exact null, the exact null data which is there in your RDBMS, use the simple query of minus import. If you have null written there, it will come as null here. But then you need to manage them in Hive. which is your warehouse. So good to go with query now. Minus minus direct. I'll just use minus minus direct here. So let me take the same table, remove this encoding part of a string and non-string, and store this in a percent res1 directory. Here I'll say minus minus direct. Let me try without mapper. Okay, so this connector also needs a mapper. At least one mapper is required here, right? So this is not using a JDBC driver. That's what we have received from scope documentation. Output will not change, okay? Just a performance maybe. Retrieve 5 records. This time it will have a null record, guys, because I have not encoded anything. What was my previous data? Percent res1. Percent underscore res1. And part will have my result. Can you see it? It has exactly taken the null, did not encode it with her value because we have not provided. As simple as that. After direct and null encoding, there is this I've used in a case when my data was not able to extract from driver because range is defined, right? What is the use of this data type? So let's go and see this data types. Very basic unit of your computer science. I started from bit, right? So data type we have boolean, bit, bytes, then integer, timestamp, date, string, char, varchar, blob, many data types based on the different programming language, different databases, different functional programming languages. So basic data types I'll talk about first. So let me say char, which is a 1 byte of data, right? Very small record. If I want to store that in char form, character form. Now, based on the program, different operating system, this is changing. If it is OS is Windows, Mac, Ubuntu, Fedora, Debian, this is having different characters in sequence. Then what about string or char or varchar? They're a little longer than char, okay? But they also follow the format of -127 to 128. This is like we have gone through of this concept in 6th grade or 5th grade of basic computer science, like how our bytes or bits can be written. Then integer is a 4 byte of value. Long is a 8 byte of value, which means they can hold a record. They can hold a record till 4 bytes. If it is increasing from 4 byte, it cannot handle it. It will start giving me exception. If it is more than 8 byte, it start giving me exception. And to work with these operations, we do typecasting, right? We do typecasting in programming language. What is a typecasting? So there are two different operations in typecasting. Let me write it here. Typecasting. When we start a Scala and actually start coding part, I'll tell you that casting approach and why casting is required in real time. So there are two type of casting. One is a upcasting and second is a downcasting. Upcasting and downcasting. So suppose I want to change from upcasting is what? You're changing your value from lower to higher, which means 4 byte to 8 byte. So converting integer to long can be upcasting. You converted 4 into 8. What is a downcasting? Just opposite, vice versa. Long to integer. You converted this 8 byte into 4 byte. But why this is required? This is required to handle our data. Okay, specify our data, optimize our information, handle well, manage them well. This is why the casting is required, and this is applicable in all the programming language, casting approach. Okay, now in a scoop my requirement is this. So in a scoop, one time we faced this issue in production system that it was not able to handle one boolean type of data. So the range was very less actually in my scoop query, and in my RDBMS side the data range was very high, so it was not fitting with my data type of scoop. So we did typecasting using one argument here, and that argument name is hyphen hyphen map hyphen column hyphen java. Okay, so what this map column java does, it will say, okay, so you have id as integer. Okay, why don't you change this integer id to long? I just need to pass this. This is also there in a scoop documentation. Let me go to map column java section. I've just seen map column java. Just a second now. Let me search it as like this map. Yeah, map column java. Override default mapping from SQL type to Java type for configured columns. So this is a description of it, but how can I pass a value? Do you have an example for map column Java? Yeah, can you see this? Map column Java id is equal to string, and you want to change this is a column name. Okay, this is a column name which is a string, and you want to change a string to integer. You can do anything. Okay, it's not like that you can change from same family. When I say family, integer and long belongs to same family, which we call a numerical family. Then a float and double, they also belong to same family. This is a decimal family. This is 10,000.00. This is 50,000.00. If I take some random value, this is 26. This is 1,20,000. Right? So they are from same family, but I can communicate from one family to another family. String belongs to character family. I am trying to change from a string to integer. Can you see it? This is one family, family one. This is family two. So this conversion is also allowed here. Within families, anyways, casting. This is very easy. This is a universal concept. But here I can interchange between this also. If I wish to do, I'll try both. I'll change from this to this first, then I'll change from this to this. Okay. We'll see in RScoop this function is available or not, because there are in a scoop or in Hadoop there are some level of compatibility issues, and they are keep releasing the versions in months, few months only. So let's go and run this map column Java. I hope you understand the agenda, what this will do. So id is equal to integer, and I want to change this to long. My value is equal to long. I'll go back to my scoop query and say scoop is equal to import. I'll use previous query. Connection URL till it is fine. Table p history, that's also okay. And this time I'll say p and casting. Present is casting. I don't want to use direct. Number of map, I'll let it be 1 because there is no primary key in the table. And after table name, I want to use map column Java. Okay, map column Java, where let me do some this operation, a string to integer. Okay, this name is a string, name or city both are a string or varchar. So disk table name varchar, and I'll change within the family first. I'll say id is equal to integer and value is equal to long. So id is equal to integer, let me use a short form. Id is equal to integer and value is equal to long. We'll use this first. Enter. But this is only required for a specific condition. Okay, do not use always. No column by the name value found. Okay, so it says fine case, just a second. I'll say id is equal to long directly. Actually value was my column name. This value is was column name, and this value is not present in the table. That's why the error came. Value is not present. Now using this query, what I'm doing, I'm changing my integer to long for id column. So it has retrieved 5 records. Okay, can I go and see this result? DFS result will be similar, right? Because you don't have any metadata here, so you won't understand whether the value has changed to long to from integer to long or not. You're getting my point? In HDFS, you just hold data. You don't have any metadata. Recent casting. I think this is a small c. Am I right? Yeah, that's right. And part the result. This will have the same record. Nothing changed. Can I somehow check my data type here using any file where my metadata will store of a scoop? So metadata of a scoop. cd is equal to let me check it. Okay, I need to explore this also because I forgot where the metadata gets stored. If I could see, I'll show you. Okay, it's not there also. Stores in Cloudera. Just hold on, okay? I forgot the locations, hence I'm searching. Fine, guys. So this is the data conversion which your query is doing internally. Okay, I was looking for this option. So much R&D, but yeah, if you want to see operation where you can search it, this is the location where your internal operation, internal data type is changing from integer value to long value. But can I do off family, as in from a string to integer? Will that work technically here? Let me change the query and say I want to store this output as, let me go to previous query. Yeah, I want to change this long to I want to change this long to a string. As in I'm saying integer to a string. Okay, so integer to a string, and this is casting 1. So this is also working. You can do a family. Record is there. If I go again and check this output, string to integer will right, Anshika. I was about to come to that point. String to integer, if I try to do, okay, let me do that actually. Data tab again, you can go there, my previous directory, and check the output. Now I'll do different. I'll say name is equal to, let me see, name is equal to varchar is there. Okay, let's say name is equal to integer, and change this directory from 1 to 2. Root. Okay, it says no result set method for Java type integer. Let me write a full form. Say integer. It handles that also. Because currently it's a file, it's not storing in table. Okay, because I'll come to that point. I think I understand your question and concern. I'll come to this point. Just let this thing complete. Exactly. This is the error for first result. And since first is not itself is not mapping, it will not go to second value. It will keep giving me error, I think, till the defined time, maybe 4 or 5. Let's wait when this task will fail. Exception, you can see it's a SQL exception. Failed. Now, why the fail is coming? I think simple logical reason. So if it is integer and I have 1, 2, 3, right? This 1, 2, 3 can be stored, can be converted into this value. There's no problem. I just need to put a double quote, and then this integer is converted into a string. This is what we did first. We converted integer value into a string, and that absolutely worked. In any programming language you do, this will work. In Python, in Scala, in Java. But if I try to make this string, which has a Unicode character or ASCII value or UTF-8, whichever encoding they're using, okay? There are many encoding for a string. Unicode characters we mainly use, okay? So suppose this string is written as hello. This string column is having one value as hello, How can I change this hello to integer? How can I change this string to integer? That's a big question. It has ASCII value. Hello is having ASCII value from 0 to 65536, or it is this range 655 some value. So 65,536, if this is having a range, and this hello cannot be interpreted. I cannot convert this with any value here. I can check a length of it. I can compare between one string and second string. I can take the length, increment and decrement, but I cannot convert this into a string. So this will work. Long to string will work. Float to string from any data type. To string will work. But string to any data type will not work. String to only this will work. String to char, varchar, these things will only work. This two data type. So I hope this is clear. This is a logical reason, and still your query submitted. It did not throw you an exception. Okay, still your query gets submitted. It did not throw you any exception. But when you check the exception after some time, it says get integer. This function internally is not able to take any value. Let me see that error. This function, yeah, this function is unable to understand the data. SQL exception, get integer, and my first record, let me go here. My first record of P history must be Janki. Let's see. Yeah, this is failing for first row itself. So obviously it will not go to second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row. It immediately this is stop. And why it is stopping? We know that it's a basic exception type within your typecasting. So you can see at one place where the data is stored. What is the type? What is the type of your column name? It is converting from which column to what column. But why this is required in your which case you'll be using in production cluster? When you are getting this exception, especially boundary exception, they're unable to get the boundary. They're unable to get the total range of that data. Then we'll apply this map column Java only with few conditions. And I think one or two cases only you will face when you need to apply this. I have only tried with one column here. Now after map column Java, last query for today is split by. Interesting operation, split by, and split by handles your table. Now you will see one whole new concept here. What is the use of split by? Split hyphen by. Split by says, I don't care whether you have primary key in table or not. I will use member of multiple mapper. Split by says, if you don't have, so far what I said, so far I've said this to you. And this is in your mind that if my table, if my table does not have any primary key, then multiple mapper cannot be used. Multiple mapper can not be used. This is what we know, right, so far for a scoop. But split by is actually challenging this concept. Split by saying, no, I will not work with this. I will behave based on my operation. It says, if your table does not have, if your table does not have primary key, let me use a shortcut pk. If your table does not have a pk, you may use split by by with some column. Okay, and when I say some column, your idea should be like that. Which column you're using, uh, the column which is having data in a sequence, or the column which is storing data in a chronological fashion or chronological order. I'll give the example after completing this theory. So you'll apply this split by without primary key, that's okay, but apply with the column which has chronological data or in sequence data. But how chronological or sequence data will look in a practical? You may use split by with some column uh, which has data in sequence. Ideally, this is my preference. Okay, I'm not saying this must be there. This is my preference, which has data in sequence and chronological order, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But sequence, when I say it can be 1, 5, 7, 9. Incremental is in sequence. Chronological is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that it is going. Just like a prime number has data in sequence and chronological order. Let me read it again. This: if your table does not have pk, you may use split by. With some column which has data in sequence and chronological. Let me create one table first here. So let's say I have a table called transaction. Okay, our txn table. In this txn table, I have a column as one id. Okay, and in this id, I have a primary key. This column is a primary key. I have transaction item. I have the price of this item, and I have another column as transaction ID. So this is a customer ID who is doing transaction. This is a transaction ID. Now customer ID is 1, 7, 9, 11, 68, 79, 82, 99. Okay. Let me take 100 for simplicity, simple math, so that we can say 100 by 4. Now item I have iWatch, I have mobile, I have home appliances, I have air conditioner, I have radio, I have FMCG, I have tab, and I have headphone. There are some items I have purchased from e-commerce website. And price is as follows. This is in dollar. So this is say $200, 0.00. This is $78, 0.00. Home underscore app appliances. This is $120. This is $2 to $5. This is $50. This is $10. This is $70. And phone is $19.99. Our transaction ID. Transaction ID is this. It has 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800. Okay, this is your table in RDBMS. Now you're using simple scoop query to extract this result. Now few questions I'll ask here and expecting answer if you're able to. Please try. So when I use a simple query of a scoop and give a number of multiple mapper, right? Since I have a primary key, so I can define this is my primary key. So I can define multiple mapper minus m is equal to 4. Or if I do not use it also, by default it will take it. We know number of mapper in a scope is 4 by default. So can you guys tell me what is the first part having? How many record I have in first part? How many record I have in second part? So on. Third part. So if you don't know, that's okay. Please try, but always I say I'm not looking for the right answer. At least try, so that we all are on the same page. Okay, 4 in first. Second 0. Okay. Third in 1 and 4 3. Perfect. 4 in first. Yeah, I think yeah, you both are right, because your number of mapper is internally what it is doing. It is creating a range of it. So it takes, okay, lower bound is 1, upper bound is 100, and it will divide simply this 100 by 4. We divide 100 by 4 and we get the result that total will have 25 result. 25 range. So 25 range it will create 0 to 25, then 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100. And based on that, so as you said, this will have total 4 record, 0 to 25, 0 to 25. But 25 to 50 we don't have anything, that's why it will have 0. Then third range 50 to 75, this will have 1. This will have 1. And last 75 to 100, this will have 3. 4 plus 0 plus 1 plus 3, total 8. But looking at this answer, you also know one mapper is doing a lot of work, taking 4 rows to process, but one mapper is sitting idle, as in one CPU is doing nothing. So we are not utilizing the resources properly, we can say that. Then second, ideally you are not distributing your data equally here. One is having 4, then 0, then 1, then 3. Output is coming, I don't deny, but my performance is not optimized here. I want to, now my main agenda or focus area is optimization. I want to optimize my query. And to optimize this query, I will use this operation, split by. Especially for such condition, always remember split by you're using for this kind of condition. Okay. Now you'll see my query. So I'll use this hyphen split by, and obviously I'll apply this with some column. Now I'll apply this split by with the column TID. You should always prefer a column which has a primary, which has a numerical value. Okay, split by use with a numerical value, because if I apply here, how it is going to divide the value. Because when you divide in your number of 4 mapper, you should know the numerical value, right? This is not having any numerical value. This is like some string characters. This is having some 278. So logically speaking, you have to check the table first, see the record, result you seen in a proper sequence, in a chronological fashion, then you can give. This is in sequence. I can't say it's in chron order, but it's in sequence at least. So split by, if I'm giving, I'll say split by and TID. I'll say here T underscore ID. When I say T underscore ID, you know how split by will work now. Now my number of mapper, 4 mapper, is not applied in this column. My number of mapper is immediately take a preference and apply in this TID. And it will say, I found the lower value. I found the lower value as lower bound as 100 and upper bound as 800. And 800 divided by 4. So instead of writing that mapper or applying that mapper on CID, now I'm applying that mapper concept in TID, just using one parameter called split by. So it will do this. It will divide 800 by 4, and again your range is what? 200 200, 200, 200. This is your range. 1 to 200, 200 to 400, 400 to 600, and 600 to 800. This is what I was looking for. This will have 100 to 100. Every mapper will get 2, 2, 2, 2 result. And this is what I was looking for. I have optimized my query. Instead of sending 4 record to one mapper, now I'm sending 2 record to one mapper. Let's see it quickly how this will work actually and how my output will look. So I'm expecting output like this 2, 2, 2, 2. We'll create this table first in RDBMS and extract using split by. So quickly I'm doing this DDL first. In healthcare I'm creating this table. Let me change the database name. Use PRWA, then create table, txn, sorry, CID item price TID, CID item price TID. Their data type is integer. This is varchar. Let's fix it to 10. Price is double. TID is also integer. Run this query. And you're saying this is a primary key, right? CID is a primary key. So no problem. You say primary key is your C underscore ID. Desk table. A primary key is there. Quickly insert it. Insert into txn values, and CID is 17911. I'll take the exact record, okay, just to verify that this 17911 1 7 9 11 68 79 80 200 68 79 82. I'm just trying my shortcut approach. Don't worry with my query operation. Okay, this is what I like to write just to speed up my query. Don't worry with the syntax, I'll correct it later. 4 last is 100, I guess. Semicolon, comma. One is having iWatch 200.00 100. iWatch 200.00 and 100. This is having, I'll just give some name, okay? Instead of writing all the value, I'll give some name here because I'm more interested on first column and last column. So whatever values I give in between this, it doesn't make sense. It's not changing the output because I'm using my primary key and speak by on first and last column. So my operation will work based on that. I'll say this is A, B, C just to increase the performance. A 200.00. I'll say this is 300.00 and this is 200. Okay, this is, I'll copy this one, paste it here, paste. Just copy paste, simple. Perfect. So A, I'll change this to B. I'll change this to 301, this to 300, this to 2, this to 3, this to 4, C, this to 2, this is D. And do we have some error? Okay, maybe this. Maybe this coming due to that. Maybe it's asking me to keep things in one single row. No problem, I'll do that. 303, 5, E, 304, 6, 7, 8, E, F, and G. Verify the first 7, 9, 11, 68, 79, 82, and 82 and 100. 800, 700, 600, 500, 400, 300, 200, 100. Okay. So lower is 100 for this, and let me run this first. Select the star from table name. Select the star from TXN. That's my output. Pretty much good. I'll extract this data using my simple scoop query. Scoop import. And, this I'll change as OPP1. Just giving a target directory. No map column Java required. No mapper required because I have a primary key. Database name and table name. TXN. Looks all good. Target directory. This is in a space. Okay, there was a space. I feel this is good now. Target directory PWA. Good. Submit this. Give a password. Okay, I forgot the TITRG. T should be there. You can see it, right? This query. 24 split, minimum value 1, maximum 100, divide by 4. So range it is creating 24, 24, 24. Last will give 26. Eight records. Clear the screen. STFS, DFS, minus LS, OPP1. Enter. You can see there is a 0 record. This was the same number of mapper. Second mapper had 0, first had 4. So size wise also, if you check, you'll quickly understand this has the largest data, then this, then this. But if you want to check one by one, we should do that first, because checking one by one is always a good option. This is having 4, then 1. This doesn't have anything. Okay, I'm just using cat, but it won't display me anything. 2, this will have 1. And this will have 3. So based on our calculation, we're good. If we are able to, if we're able to calculate 8 records, we can calculate 8 billion records also the same way. Now, I'll use a split by in my query. I'll use a split by in my query, and everything is same. I'll just use hyphen hyphen split hyphen by. That's it. T underscore ID. Nothing much. This parameter only I'm adding. See the output. Okay, sorry. This already exists. I need to change that output directory from 1 to 2. So one thing we get today, that if your table does not have primary key, it doesn't matter. Can you see split size now? Earlier it was 24. Now it is creating 175 as split size. So it has divided 800 like that. 100 to 800, because there are total 700 records, right? If you check 100 to 800, there are total 700 records. So 700 divided by 4, I cannot equally divide it. But if I multiply 175 into 4, I'll get total 700 result. That's exactly same. To check it, you can do 175 into 4. This is giving me 700. Similarly, if you do 24 into 4, it is giving me 96, because that time my result started from 1 to 100, which was 99. So 99 divided by 4 exactly, it cannot break in an equal part, but it's okay. Even number cannot be equally distributed. Sorry, odd number cannot be equally distributed. Record same. This time it will go inside OP2, and I will use cat hyphen R and part star. Okay, hyphen R is not giving me recursively. I think recursively I cannot read it. Let me see one by one. 0, 0, 0. To record, should have to record, and last is obviously having to record. So split by works like a magic, especially for performance query. So use in a condition, or use when you do not have a primary key and you want to apply multiple mappers, multiple CPU you want to use.